Hey everyone, Don here. Welcome back. Figured I'd do something a little bit different. Take you along for the ride for the first shots of my M1 Garand that I recently acquired from the CMP. If you don't know what the CMP is, I'll put a link in the description below. So what they do is support youth shooting sports by selling surplus firearms. I purchased this last year, back around, I want to say October is when I placed the order. With the pandemic, they were, running pretty far behind. So I didn't receive this rifle until probably March, and I haven't fired it yet. And so I'm going to take it apart and make sure it's lubricated properly, get it out to the range, and take the first shots with it. This is what they send you, and this is how it comes in the case. I've took the liberty of covering my serial number, but I will tell you it is a 6-digit serial number that dates back at about October 1941. It comes with certificate of authenticity, bill of sale, some other paperwork. I won't share that with you, but it also comes with a user manual, a new sling, which is really not period correct. It's an aftermarket sling, and one end block clip, and of course the rifle itself. Let me break this out here. The stock is new, the barrel is new. It's an original M1 receiver with pieces replaced on it as needed, right? They go through it and they inspect every component internally, and they determine if any component needs to be replaced, they'll replace it. Sometimes with an aftermarket piece, sometimes with a older GI piece that's in good condition. I think the rifle's been test fired, but that's about it. And so I haven't fired it. Of course, ammo's been a little bit hard to come by. One of the things about ammo for the M1 is that it has to be specific for the M1 Garand. Now, again, I'm no expert. And some folks will tell you it's safe to shoot commercial ammo. Personally, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to risk any damage. I guess the theory is that if you use ammunition that's commercially available, it's a little bit hotter, and the op rod is susceptible to bending. I'm going to stick with the tried and true. Most ammo manufacturers makes ammunition that's specific for the M1, and what it essentially is 150 grain bullet with a specific load that kind of tames it. Relatively speaking, 30-06 is not exactly a tame round to begin with. So, but it keeps the pressures low enough to where the where the op rod won't bend during operation. So, this is how they ship these with this tag, serial number, of course. But they measure the muzzle with a gauge. They measure the throat with a gauge, and a lot of the service grade, the field grade, that's where this matters. The other grades of rifles will have some wear on them. They'll have, they could be dinged up, banged up, scratched. I've seen them with stickers on them. I've seen them with notches cut in them. You name it. Some of these things have run through the ringer, but CMP will check them for function. They'll make repairs if necessary, and get them working. I wanted a rifle that was going to be in fantastic condition, that I knew was going to run the way I needed it to run, the way it was meant to run, and it was going to operate safe. And so this is the one that I ended up with. And again, it's luck of the draw. I certainly did not expect a 6-digit serial number. I expected to get something in the millions, and as history would dictate, the production numbers on these steadily increased as the early 40s went on. Certainly after December 1941, they started pumping these out all the way up until now. I think they were built from 1936 to 1957. I'm going to have some fun with it. So let's take it apart. To take these apart, there's not too much to it, but there's the trigger group, easy peasy. And we want to take the stock out. set that aside. And I'm glad I'm taking this apart because I'm noticing bits of wood, probably from this being a new stock. There is sawdust still in it. So I want to clean a little bit of that up. Let's see. Now again, I'm no expert and I've never owned one of these before, so this is new to me. Got to get the spring out here. There's a pin right here. This pin comes out. And let's see, this and this comes out. This comes out. I'm sure these parts have a name. Don't ask me what they are. Yeah, this has got some bits of wood on it, and it looks pretty dry. Now, I'll admit, I'm guilty of over lubricating, and I would rather clean up a little bit of mess from having too much oil and grease on a firearm than have metal pieces rubbing together. So yeah, we want to flip this over. Let's bring this back. There's a little notch back here where this will come apart. One thing I have found with this firearm is it seems very tight. And I think that's the difference between getting one that's been redone as opposed to getting a service grade. Having gotten the special grade, I think I'm in much newer condition in terms of how tight everything is. Now, I've noticed that the numbers don't match on a lot of this stuff. Certainly the barrel. The barrel is from 2020. It's dated October 2020. So that's not going to match, but it is a brand new barrel. Yeah, some of the serial numbers on this certainly don't match, but that was one of the things with these rifles. They were, you know, some might call it Frankenstein, but they were made in such a way that the parts were totally interchangeable, so they could keep them going under field conditions in the military. I mean, after all, this is a military surplus rifle. clearly I'm not a great shot with the rifle. This was my first 8 shots with this rifle. At least they were on paper. This was 100 yards. Not spectacular, but I'm happy I hit the paper. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.